Hello there, welcome to news from Nepal Television. I'm Smitu Gising Thabang. Let's begin with the top stories for this afternoon. Election for Deputy Speaker scheduled for Friday. Home Minister Khan to propose to consider Citizenship Bill today. Office of the Auditor General presents its 59th annual report for the last fiscal to the President. Over 7.5 trillion rupees audited this year. Protesters break into the Prime Minister's office in Sri Lanka. PM tells military to do whatever necessary to restore order. And Nepal secures first ODI win on European soil. Bowlers dominating the impressive 5-wicket win over Scotland in the CWC League 2. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. The election to the post of Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives has been fixed for 3 p.m. on Friday, July 15. Speaker Agni Prasad Sapkota informed about this in a meeting of the House of Representatives on Wednesday. The Federal Parliament Secretariat stated that there is a program for registration of a proposal for election of any member of the HOR to the post of Deputy Speaker between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. today. The notice of such proposal should be registered with the HOR Secretariat. The Secretariat will publish the list of candidates and order of registration within the stipulated time of their candidacies in the Federal Parliament Building Notice Board at 1:30 p.m. on the same day. In the HOR meeting scheduled for 3 p.m. on July 15, Friday, the proposer will propose a candidate for the election to the Deputy Speaker, while the lawmakers supporting the proposal shall second it, followed by group discussions on the notice of candidacy, which will be then put to a vote in accordance with the order of registration. The meeting of the House of Representatives is again being held today at 3 in the afternoon. Home Minister Balkrishna Khan will propose that the Nepal Citizenship First Amendment Bill 2079 be considered. The Citizenship Bill, which has been a topic of discussion and controversy for a long time, has been brought forward by the government again. In Wednesday's meeting of the House, Home Minister Khan tabled a new bill. According to the government, the bill was introduced to provide citizenship to those who could not obtain citizenship and to ensure that no citizen is deprived of the right to obtain the same. Parliamentarians Prem Suwal, Sher Bahadur Tamang and Bhim Bahadur Rawal had presented a notice of opposition to the new bill. Home Minister Balkrishna Khan has directed the authorities concerned to immediately arrange a rescue, relief and residence for those rendered displaced due to landslide at Arughat Rural Municipality 1, Shamchit in Gorkha. Home Minister Khan directed Home Administration, Ministry's Disaster Management Division, Chief District Officer of Gorkha, Shankar Hari Acharya, and district-based security agencies to arrange treatment to the landslide survivors. CDO Acharya shared that a team of Nepal Police and Armed Police Force had reached the landslide-hit area on Wednesday evening to rescue the disaster survivors. The tendency to spend violating the law has increased, which has led to an increase in unaccounted expenses every year. The 59th annual report of the Auditor General has shown that the call in arrears has increased by 15.46% in the fiscal year 2020-21. In the fiscal 115 billion rupees was unaccounted for by the federal government offices, provincial government offices, local levels and other committees. Along with this, it has reached 483.59 billion rupees so far. This year, 7.517 trillion rupees has been audited by the federal, provincial, local level and institution committees, said Auditor General Tankaman Sharma Dangal. This is the first time in the history of government audit that fully electronic audit system has been implemented. Time for a short break now. We will be right back, to stay tuned. Welcome back. Now the international update. Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has told the military to whatever is necessary to restore order after protesters stormed his office on Wednesday. Mr. Wickremesinghe has been appointed acting president by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who has fled the country. But the decision to leave him in charge triggered further protests demanding that the Prime Minister must also go. Sri Lanka has been suffering from its worst economic crisis in decades. Many blame the Rajapaksa administration for the crisis and see Mr. Wickremesinghe, who became Prime Minister in May, as part of the problem. On Wednesday, for the second time in less than a week, protesters broke into a highly secure state building. This time it was the Prime Minister's office. With a European heat wave causing a spate of wildfires in countries across the continent, officials in Portugal have stressed the need to adapt to climate change. The scorching weather saw firefighters battling blazes in Portugal, Spain, Croatia and southern France on Wednesday. Authorities have linked the unusual heat wave to climate change. At the country's meteorological institution, climate scientist Ricardo Dias also stressed the need for countries to adapt. Portuguese officials on Wednesday said multiple fires caused the evacuation of more than 600 people. About 120 people needed medical treatment, with 2 people, 1 civilian and 1 firefighter, suffering serious injuries. Flooding in a remote pocket of southwest Virginia has damaged more than 100 homes and left some 40 people unaccounted for, but there are no confirmed deaths or injuries, authorities said Wednesday. About 40 people, a mix of adults and children, were reported unaccounted for, but that number was expected to decrease as swift water rescue teams continue to survey the area, authorities said. A shelter was established at a local school. Bushalan County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Eric Breeding said the number of persons unaccounted for is based on relatives trying to contact a resident in an area where there may be limited or no phone service. Virginia government Glenn Youngkin declared a state of emergency to aid with the response and recovery efforts. Time again for a short break. We shall see you at the other side with more updates. Welcome back. You're watching English News on Nepal television. More updates on the international front. Former Chancellor Rishi Sunak has won the first round of voting by MPs to choose the next Conservative leader and Prime Minister. He got 88 votes with Trade Minister Penny Mordaunt in second place on 67 and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss third on 50. Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi and former Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt were eliminated from the race. Those still in the contest face another round of voting on Thursday. The field is expected to be narrowed to 2 by the end of next week, and then around 160,000 Tory members decide which candidate they want to become the next party leader and Prime Minister. The result will be announced on 5 September. A Mexican Air Force plane landed at an airport near Mexico City on Wednesday, bearing 8 bodies of the 53 migrants who were found dead in a truck in Texas last month. They were the first to be returned of the 26 Mexicans among those who died of heat and dehydration inside a locked truck trailer abandoned by smugglers on the outskirts of San Antonio on June 27. Mexico's Foreign Affairs Ministry said in a statement Wednesday evening that the military plane was making a second trip to San Antonio on Wednesday to recover 8 more victims. In total, the government planned to return the bodies of 25 of the 26 Mexican victims in accordance with their families' wishes, the statement said. Those who died in the truck included people from the states of Guanajuato, Veracruz, Oaxaca, Mexico, Zacatecas, Querétaro, Morelos, and Mexico City. Migrants from Honduras and Guatemala also were among those who died in the deadliest known smuggling attempt in the United States. More updates lined up at the other side, but before that, let's take a look at the highlights. The United Nations reported a step forward from the first face-to-face talks in months between Russia and Ukraine on a plan to unblock the export of Ukrainian grain. Military officials from Russia, Ukraine and Turkey and UN envoys met Wednesday in Istanbul for talks on a plan to export Ukrainian grain to world markets through the Black Sea. Ukraine is one of the world's largest exporters of wheat, corn and sunflower oil. The war has trapped about 22 million tons of grain inside Ukraine, endangering food supplies in many developing countries and raising global food prices. And now the sports update. Nepal secured its first ODI win on European soil in a dominant 5-wicket win over Scotland in the ICC CWC League 2 Series match. This is also Nepal's first ever win against Scotland in matches above List A. Nepali seamers demolished Scotland after opting to field first on a green pitch and eventually dismissed the host for 144 runs in 42.5 overs. Sompal Kami was the initiator, who finished up with 3 along with Mohammad Adil Alam, who also picked 3 wickets. Asif Sheikh's impressive 71 saw Nepal cruise to the target in 25.1 overs, though lost some quick wickets at the end in an attempt to finish the match early. With Wednesday's win, Nepal has climbed to the 5th position in the League 2 table ahead of Namibia with 8 wins. Nepal will have a change to avenge the loss of the first match against Namibia tomorrow. Raheem Sterling has confirmed his move to Chelsea after penning a farewell letter to Manchester City fans. Chelsea have reportedly paid £50 million for a 5-year contract for the England international, who leaves Manchester City after 7 years. Sterling thanked City's coaching staff, players and supporters and reflected on the 11 major trophies won during his time at the club in an open letter posted on his Twitter account on Wednesday. And before we wind up, the headlines one more time. Election for Deputy Speaker scheduled for Friday. Home Minister Khan to propose to consider Citizenship Bill today. Office of the Auditor General presents its 59th annual report for the last fiscal to the President. Over 7.5 trillion rupees audited this year. Protesters break into the Prime Minister's office in Sri Lanka. PM tells military to do whatever necessary to restore order. And Nepal secures first ODI win on European soil. Bowlers dominate in the impressive 5-wicket win over Scotland in the CWC League 2. That's it for this edition of NTV News. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye. Namaste.